Despite Japan's small participation in World War I, the war brought an economic boom to Japan. Trade improved with the West, and they began to heavily industrialize. Japan also became more democratic. They had a prime minister, an emperor, and parliament, also called a diet. Previously, the emperor had chosen the prime minister, but in the 1920s, the diet was given the power to appoint the prime minister. This change made the government more conscious on what the diet and voters wanted. Also, men over the age of 25 were given the right to vote. Powerful businessmen called the zaibatsu began to manipulate political parties through large donations. This allowed them to push policies through the diet that favored international trade. In the 1930s, the Great Depression strongly hit Japan. Japan, an island nation with few natural resources, was highly dependent on international trade. However, tariffs from other countries made trade difficult. After the prime minister resigned and officials were assassinated, the military took over power. Japan became like a totalitarian state, but was run by 5 generals and not just one dictator. The military wanted to expand into China, but the zaibatsu didn't for fear of upsetting trade with the West. Businessmen began to invest in northern China due to its large deposits of coal and iron. Japan then took control of the northeast area of Manchuria because a mysterious bomb went off on one of their railways. Then the Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated, ending party cabinets and increasing the military's power. In 1932, Manchuria and Inner Mongolia was set up as a puppet state, and Puyi was set up as the Emperor of China but was being controlled by a Japanese spy. In 1933, the League of Nations began to protest Japan's actions on China, but Japan just simply withdrew from the League of Nations. The Second Sino-Japanese War began when another so-called incident occurred on a railway, and Japan used it as an excuse to go to war with China. On July 7, 1937, Japan fully invaded China, and in December 1937, the rape of Nanjing occurred. There were 20,000 rapes and 300,000 to 600,000 deaths. Some say that as many as 35 million Chinese were murdered during the war, and is called the Forgotten Holocaust.